I have a lot of different interests. Almost all my projects fall under the umbrella of the effects of media on child development, child and adolescent development, and specifically the effects of media on aggression, though I've sort of started to go in different directions away from that. I just finished up a project that I've been working on for about 5 years, looking at the effects of video games, movies, television, specifically on girls' aggression. It's a really neglected topic in the field. We have so much research. For 40 years now, people have been looking at whether or not watching violent television makes boys more aggressive. But boys tend to use physical aggression, and girls tend to use other forms of aggression that have been coming to attention in the media more and more. We call this relational aggression, the rumor spreading, silent treatment, sort of indirect and verbal means of aggression that girls tend to use. So my research has looked at both the amount and portrayal of this type of aggression in the media, and then what the effects might be on girls, specifically 5th grade girls. So that's sort of a larger project that I've been working on. And also how this kind of media exposure affects their friendships. I do a lot of observational research. We have dyads of 5th grade girls come in with a friend, and we videotape them discussing problems and look at how their interactions may be related to their media habits. Another project that I have going on is one that stemmed from a colleague in a very different department, and this is the interdisciplinary excitement that I was telling you about. I went to a faculty lecture by Brad Thompson in the Mass Communication Department, maybe 2-3 years ago now, and it was about the ethics of photo retouching in the field of photojournalism. And he was showing all these pictures of some of them quite famous of photojournalists altering photos in ways that alter the truth, and how unethical this is because journalism is supposed to be the truth. And I went up to him after and I said, I find this very interesting that this is so unethical, considered, without a doubt to be unethical. Yet in commercial photography, we alter people all the time. We touch them up, we slim a hip, so forth. Why do you think that we don't have this, same standard for commercial photography? He said, well, it's harmful in, and I'm paraphrasing what he said. Basically, his suggestion was, if you present a false photo in the news, it can do damage. And I said, well, it can do damage to show a model that isn't really that thin. And he said, oh, really? And so we sort of started talking about, all the research showing that, exposure to even 15 minutes of pictures of models lowers girls' self-esteem, makes them more self-conscious about their eating habits, so forth. And so we came up sort of together with this idea that a student became interested in, and she has taken it on, of looking at experimentally the effects of viewing manipulated photos, retouched photos, on people's perceptions of self, but also their perceptions of others. So we've included assessments such as, if you've just viewed all these photos of people retouched, and these are normal people, just not models, just, 7-year-old man retouched to look like he's 55, for example. And does this affect their perceptions about others in terms of their stereotypes about aging, their own fear of aging, those sorts of ideas. So we actually had a collaborative research grant this summer. The student, Kendall Moriarty, is a senior psychology major, and we started it this summer. We're currently collecting data. A colleague that I do a lot of video game research on with at Iowa State University thought this is interesting. He's hooked up on the project. They're gathering data there. And I'm actually on sabbatical next semester, so one of the things I'm going to do is be finishing up this project along with lots of other loose ends. And sort of going to be a turning point for me next semester. I've got all these projects finishing up. In addition to writing them up and getting them out there, I'm going to take time in the spring to really think about, okay, what next? Where am I going next? What is my next big project? I'm not quite sure what it's going to be yet. So.